You want to bring on our guest?
I will. If
Since you're sitting on the left.
All right. Well, in that case, we are going to transition here from this doom and gloom because this has been doomy and gloomy. We're gonna transition to a much happier place. There's a website out here and a show called Cleve It To Us. It's locally based site, locally based entertainment, and it has been nominated by the Scene Awards for the best local newscast here in town. And that's over all of the big boys that have a lot of money. This is an independent operation. They've been doing very well. They're making a lot of noise. And obviously to get a Scene nomination above, WTAM, yes, is a strong thing. So we thought, we might as well have them on to promote and maybe convince a few people to slide over to Scene and give them a vote, or at least if nothing else, give you a place to look to find out what's going on around town.
I think there was a best podcast on the Scene Awards too. So write us in.
Yeah, well, we'll go for that next year. For now, we're only going to try and convince people to vote one way, and that's for Cleve It To Us. So here to talk all about Cleve It To Us is the founder of the site himself. It is Gremi. Gremi, how are you, man?
Hey, can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
All right. I'm so happy to be here.
Excellent.
Happy to have you.
Well, dude, as I was telling you yesterday, man, I literally discovered your site yesterday. It was one of those that I just happened to see it, and I saw it on Facebook or somewhere, and I looked. I was like, man, this is right up our alley. This is local based. It's not corporately funded, so it's corporately dictated. It's all independent, and it's all about Cleveland, and that's the best thing that I can say about what you do. So why don't we start there, man? Why don't you tell us a little bit about Cleve It To Us?
Sure. I appreciate it, and I want to start by thanking you guys again for having me on the show.
Sure.
Thank you.
You kind of hit the nail on the head, and people are still discovering it for the first time. Cleve It To Us launched December 3rd of last year, and we were working on it 8 or 9 months prior to build up some relationships and some content before we launched. But the main goal was to create a news platform that sort of took the rules and the corporate structure and the politics out of the process, right, and put ourselves and our viewers and our neighbors and friends right there with your favorite small businesses, with your favorite local entrepreneurs, with your favorite events, and taking you behind the scenes. So you might be going to an event that's happening here in Cleveland, and you might wonder what's going on back there that we can't see. That's where we come in, and we're showing you, and we're making it immersive and introducing you to some of the folks that are coming to town and showing you how you can be sort of a tourist in your own backyard.
Sure. And one of the things that, as I told you yesterday, but we have Tony Masaccio that comes on every week and walks us through various restaurants. And believe me, that is, as much as I've lived here for 50 whatever years, 3 of every 4 weeks, I've never been to the restaurant that he's been to. I think that's very similar in a way to what you do. Everybody knows the hot spots. Everybody knows the flats or what's remaining of the flats. They know the West Bank. They know, they know 4th Street. They know the prime areas. But there's so much more going on in town that really even the corporate news is not even covering, right?
Sure. Yeah. The problem is, and you'll notice this a lot when you look at our big local stations, 3, 5, 8, and 19, mm-hmm, that 90% of the stories you see are either politically motivated somehow, they're sad or scary, and a lot of it's not even local. I mean, I want to give Fox a lot of credit because most of the news stations have local segments, mm-hmm, but the majority of what they put out there, it's for views, it's for ratings, it's to appease sponsors and so that they can continue on doing what they're doing. And the thing that you'll notice most is that if you look at the reporters out in the field over the past 3 or 4 years, every time you turn on these stations, you're seeing somebody new. They're having a lot of turnover, and a lot of their seasoned professionals that have been with some of these stations for decades are leaving or retiring or having complete career changes. And I'm friends with some of them. I've had these conversations with quite a few of them, and it all boils down to the same thing. It became too political. It became too gotcha journalism, too much, of gotcha journalism. And for them, at least, it became a lot less fun.
Right.
And I think we're noticing that with viewership as well. With the internet is 30 years old now, and it just keeps getting bigger and better. And when people have the ability, I mean, something like 85% of people get their news from their mobile device.
Right.
So they're not watching, if you ask someone what channel WKYC was, I know that's 3.
Yeah, right.
But most people don't know anymore. Like, well, let's see, what is it on Hulu? What is it on this? Because that's how they're getting their news. And 9 times out of 10, you're really getting it because you're scrolling through Instagram or TikTok and you see what people are talking about. Right. And personally, I think this is why we see a lot of legislation or attempted legislation around these platforms, because it's scary to the political agenda. When people are using TikTok, for example, to communicate with one another, it's hard to control a narrative when people are talking amongst themselves. And I don't really want to get political, but that is something that I notice. And so when creating Cleve It To Us, the entire goal was to make a platform that showed off Cleveland and all of the amazing things it has to offer. So whether you're coming to visit or whether you've lived here your whole lives, there's something to do no matter where you look. And showcasing the good, showcasing the inspiring, showcasing the exciting in an immersive and educational and entertaining way that doesn't involve, bad news, doesn't involve politics. It's 100% good news, all Cleveland, all the time. And the fact that we got this nomination and that we're ranking number 1 right now,
great,
to me shows that this is something that was needed. This is something that people craved. I was baffled when I realized that we're polling higher than Fox 3, 5, 19 didn't even place in the award. And ironically, that was one of my favorite networks was 19, because they seem to be more out there talking to people locally. But I think it says a lot about where we are as a city, as a culture. We are tired of the same old thing, and we want to turn on something and be informed and entertained and feel like we're there with it. So when we're going to a restaurant, for example, we're not just asking about the history of the restaurant. We do, but instead of just holding up a microphone and saying, tell me how long it's been around, no, we want to get in the kitchen. We want to cook with you. We want to try some of the food so that, like you mentioned, you do restaurant reviews all the time, but maybe you haven't been to these restaurants. I want to try it, and I'm going to tell you all the stuff that I loved while I was there.
Right.
And we did one a few weeks ago at the Parma Ribbon Rock, and then we were there the whole weekend. After we released the segment, the next day I was there, and everyone who we featured came up and said, oh my gosh, all these people came up because they said they saw it on the show. That's great. And so they came and had some ribs, or they came and had some mac and cheese. And that makes me more happy than anything.
Right on.
See, I was going to ask you pretty much everything that you just said, because so you try to stay away from the politics and stuff like that, which is great. Is it tough sometimes to show, though, the great sides of Cleveland when there's a lot of news out there that isn't as positive as you probably want it to be? It's got to be difficult sometimes to put that spin on it. Yes,
it's not difficult at all. I think that it seems like it might be difficult because that's what's reported. People don't realize, if you're looking from an outside perspective, you talk about Cleveland, or you talk about Ohio, and all they're thinking about is the big headline stories that they see, and none of them are positive. You see, just when you think about stories in Florida and you Google Florida man, that's what you see is something crazy that's happening. And I think it actually makes it easier for me to do what I do because nobody's highlighting the amazing things. Cleveland was the biggest and richest city in the United States at one point. And during the Gilded Age, we had it all. And from a city built on steel to becoming the wealthiest city in the country, the first city whose streets were illuminated by electricity in the United States. The fact that it seems that it would be difficult to put a positive spin on things makes my job actually very easy, because no matter where I look, whether it's something I already knew about, or when we launched the site, originally we were reaching out to a lot of places and saying, hey, can we feature you? Here's what we are. Once it got popular after the third segment released, we have a thing on the website where people can suggest a segment, and every day people are sending in submissions. You should feature this, you should feature that.
That's great.
Because no matter what, no matter where you look, no matter rock you look under, there's something amazing to see. And so there are times where we might, and I've had these conversations with some folks where there are times where we might touch on something that has become a political issue, but isn't political, if that makes sense.
Sure.
But we're in a very divided time, and everything seems to be, if you watch mainstream media, it's all black and white, red and blue, and that's not how the majority of Americans view America. So there's always going to be a place. You've got 4 big choices here, 8, 3, 5, and 19, where you can turn on those stations and hear about political things going on. You can hear about sad things, scary things, bad things. This is a place for the opposite. So if something bad were to happen in Cleveland, let's say something happens in a school and there's a problem because their toilets are all breaking and there's not enough funding, that's going to be covered 17 million ways in the media. If we're going to cover that, we're going to talk about, well, what's their art program look like? I want to see some of the great things coming out of this school, because while all of this is happening, nobody's talking about the fact that this kid has a 4.6 GPA and nobody has a 4.6 GPA and an IQ that's outstanding. And that's what I want to focus on while they're focusing on everything else. So, that was sort of a long-winded answer, but I don't think it's difficult at all. I think that it actually makes my job a lot easier, because nobody's taking the time to talk about the fun and the exciting and the inspiring things. Right. And I promise you, if this show has taught me anything, it's that there's much more positive, inspiring, encouraging news in Cleveland than there is scary, negative, and depressing. There's way more.
Just stay away from Brown Stadium.
Well,
depressing.
You know what, though? We can spin that. Cleveland has the most loyal fans of anyone in the country.
That's
okay?
True.
And we don't care that the Browns lose. We're still more loyal than anyone, and that says a lot about our determination and our pride and our loyalty as a city.
Yeah. We also have the most relaxed and well-massaged quarterback in the National Football League.
That's right.
So that's good too.
We like our players to be relaxed.
Exactly.
All right, but somebody does have like a good point here. Somebody texted in and said, sad thing is crime deters us from going places today. I mean, you're right. There's a lot of great things to see. But if I want to go down to the aquarium with my family, there are times where I'm afraid to go down there. And so, that's the reality of the situation. And so, I think it's great that you're putting a good spin on things, but that's what I think a lot of people think.
Sure. So to start with, I don't really want to say I'm putting a good spin on things. I'm making people aware of the good. I go out of my way to not try to put a good spin on something bad. Do we have problems? Sure, but every big city in America has problems, and they're all the same problems. So you're going to have areas that are rougher than others. And in those areas, I think a lot of times the news definitely neglects to talk about the great things that are happening there. Is it worth taking a schlep to a neighborhood that might be a little bit rougher to try out a restaurant that's really good? I think so. I mean, we go everywhere, and when we're filming, there's times where we see something that you'd rather not see, but I'd rather it not exist in the first place. And if you ignore the fact that these issues exist, and I'm not doing that. We're just not this. There's plenty of things I'll personally promote or talk about on my own Facebook, for example, but on Cleve It To Us, that's a separate thing.
Sure.
We don't focus on that, but I do think it's important to acknowledge the areas within our community that need improvement and talk about ways to improve it instead of just talking about, well, this is a problem and nothing's being done about it. It's not entirely true. There's a lot of organizations doing so many things that people don't realize because they're not getting the attention that they deserve. Robert Kennedy was at the Coit Road Farmers Market recently talking to folks there. That got almost no media coverage.
Right.
It almost none. The only reason I knew about it was because a buddy of mine runs a stand in the Coit Road Farmers Market. They don't want to talk about positive things happening in East Cleveland. But all of the news media is very quick to jump on the negative things that happen there. When I can tell you that I went to high school in Glenville, and I've never had a problem driving or walking through East Cleveland ever. It's run down. That's a sign that the leadership in those communities, it needs to be better.
Sure.
So, of course, again, we won't talk about the negative things that have to do with that on Cleve It To Us. I might talk about them personally, but instead, I want to highlight the fact that John's on Euclid in East Cleveland has, quite frankly, the best burger you're going to find anywhere in Cleveland. A lot of people don't know that because they just won't drive there.
Right.
And Thursdays are buy one, get one. And you don't have to tell me twice. Buy one, get one on the best burger. Come on.
Well, and you know what part of it is too, Gremi, is that the with the traditional news, I'll call it, or the corporate news, they spend so much time on the negative that it gives you a false impression sometimes. And I mean, look, nobody's saying, even I know Seth is, I understand Seth's point here.
Oh, so do I.
And I think part of it always has to be, and it probably needs to be said, part of it always has to be, you have to use some common sense. You don't go to East 55th and Harvard at 3 a.m. and walk around. That's just not, that's common sense. That being said, in the old days, and I'm old, but in the old days, we had like Cleveland PM, or we had, those types of shows that were on local programming that would tell you, hey, there's a candy store opening in this place, or here's what's going on at 16-bit or whatever that place is called in Lakewood. There would be those kind of shows that would focus on that. That's gone away now because so much of the news is political or politically motivated. Yeah. And that's where I think you come in and really fill a void that is missing. It actually reminds people that there's a boat show in August or an RV show in September or whatever, and that's missing. It's gone away. And it's great to have a site like yours and segments like yours going out and actually showing, like you said, not just showing, here it is, here's the dates, show up if you want to, but actually showing the people, and you get to know the people.
Yeah, you get to know them. Cleveland is a small, big city.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows everyone, but We want to know more. And a lot of people are put on a pedestal, especially news reporters. And that was one thing I was adamant about taking out of the equation. We had folks on the air, and there's some are still. Kenny Crumpton is an example, Kicking It with Kenny.
Sure.
Everyone loves that, and everyone knows his name but his segments are much shorter, and they're live, but they're shorter because they don't get as much airtime, because sponsors are sending money in, politically motivated money, to talk about other things. But the networks realize they need these people who relate to the audience in order to keep people in the first place.
Sure.
And so it was important to me that when people see us out recording, and I've been involved in media for my entire adult life, very rarely in front of a camera, normally behind a camera, but when you see something going on, filming happening, and you think, oh wow, that's amazing, or it's unapproachable, it's so above us, we encourage folks when they see us filming. We do very few things live. A lot of what we do is recorded and then it'll release the next day. So if we're filming and somebody comes up and you can see that they're excited that we're there, we'll stop and invite them over. Come on, come meet us. You want to talk about, if we're talking about a restaurant, we're talking about a dance academy. Do you dance? Do you know what's going on? Show me how you dance. And then we involve them and make them a part of it. And that's how we've grown so rapidly, because not only is it fun and entertaining and educational, we're involving other people. And then they're telling their family and their friends, look what I got to do. And now they're a part of it. And they maybe, if we're at Sweetie Candy Company and somebody jumps up, and then they get to meet the owner, and they never knew the owner before. Did you know this guy's the owner? And now we have a great time. They have a connection. They made a new friend. And I think our community is a little bit better off when we have people that are coming together to do fun, positive things, as opposed to being afraid to approach one another for whatever reason.
I agree.
All right, let me give you just a quick show idea, though.
Yes.
You could do a show about the most positive, uplifting podcast in the city of Cleveland.
Who is that? Ain't us.
The Seth Williams Show. Because we are the least political and very upbeat about everything kind of, podcast. That would be a good segment, I think.
I don't know, but before I went live, it seemed like it was pretty political.
Dude.
Must have been tuned to the wrong station.
Yeah, you had a wrong feed coming in your ear.
Change the channel.
What are some of the best restaurants you've been to around town? Just get a feel of what kind of stuff you guys do.
Oh, so many. Okay, so Geraci's just opened up their slice shop downtown. I haven't been to the new slice shop, but we did go to the original Geraci's, and there's a segment out there. I was flinging pizza in the kitchen with Bucky, who's third generation owner. And Geraci's has been on the Food Network. They're phenomenal. White Flower Cake Shop. They've grown massively over 16 years. They're known around the world. People come from far and wide. And one of the restaurants I went to more recently was the Aviator, which was the 100th Bomb Group, right outside of Hopkins Airport. And the food there blew my mind. I didn't think we were eating. That's one of the cool things. I will say it's one of the cool things about showing up with a camera crew. I tend to not, and we'll go places that maybe Fox covered or Kenny's covered. And, I don't know how they see it. I don't see it as competition. We're doing something completely different. But a lot of that is planned ahead of time. They know what they're going to say. They know what they're going to do. I'm opposed to that. I want to go there and see what happens, because then the communication that we're having, the experience that we have, it's 100% genuine.
Sure.
And nothing is canned and nothing is scripted. So when we got to the Aviator to film, I had no idea they'd be making food for us. And so we got there and he says, I'll take you around and then we're going to eat. And he had the kitchen make us, 4 dishes, these massive dishes. And every single one of them was phenomenal. And some of them were dishes that I looked at, and I even told him on camera, I said, I don't think I'm going to like this, but I am going to try it. And it was phenomenal. So that was a big one for me, the Aviator, because it was completely unexpected. It was unexpected that they fed us, which is great. I mean, people just throw stuff at you when you have cameras, which is cool. But I definitely did not expect the 5-star dining experience and the quality and the plates came out looking like works of art, and they tasted even better. I can't say enough good things about the Aviator, and I was there with Kadar, who is the owner, and they restored this whole place. I don't know if either of you have been there, but it's phenomenal.
It's great.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna have to join your team if you get fed. So that might be you might be receiving an application in the mail.
Hey man, can you hold up a camera? Just show up. We're involved. You know, a lot of our folks are interns from Cleveland State and Ohio Media School, and there's a few of them who have actually graduated from Ohio Media School and stuck around as part of our crew.
That's great.
Volunteering to do so because they say, you know, we go to the other news stations and do this, and they don't have us doing anything hands-on. But with you, we're meeting people, we're giving out business cards and making these connections, and we're having such a blast that even folks that are done with school, they want to come back. I'm happy to have you on. So come grab a camera or just help hype up the crowd when we're on the street.
I graduated from the Ohio Center for Broadcasting, Ohio Media School now. But yeah, I graduated from there, so I know what I'm doing a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming. And tell everybody the Scene Awards are being done. How can people vote for you?
Okay, so you can go. We made it really easy, actually. If you go to cleveittous.com, CLEVEITTOUS, cleveittous.com, right on the homepage, there's a button that says we were nominated for #1 Cleveland local newscast, and there's a button that says you can vote here, and you can vote daily. Once a day, it'll let you vote. You make an email account. Cleveland Scene will not spam you with emails. You don't have to pay to sign up. You put your email. So they do that so they make sure that people aren't voting more than once a day. Because that was the #1 thing I was asked. Are they going to spam me with emails? I haven't gotten a single email from Cleveland Scene. And, of course, I vote for myself every day.
Of course.
So you can vote every day. It's right there. If you guys have something that you could share the link, I would appreciate that. Share the link. To vote there. There's also an article that came out yesterday talking about kind of what we're talking about here and why we think it's important to support just going out there, even if it's not Cleve It To Us. If you see a small business, if you see an event going on, something that's good for Cleveland, take a picture, put it on your Instagram, talk it up, because there's not enough of that and there should be more. Now, this weekend, I will say we are covering the Tri-Clee Rock Roll Run, which is a triathlon. It's a 2 transition event, so they're going from swimming to riding to running, and it goes from the harbor to Edgewater. So by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is where swimming starts, and then it goes all the way to Edgewater. And we're covering that on Friday. We're going to be with them a little bit while they're getting set up. And then Saturday is going to be one of the very, very few live segments that we do. And that'll be on Facebook and YouTube and TikTok,
okay,
where you can tune in live. And I'm going to be on a bike with them early in the morning. I'm so out of shape, I don't know how that's going to go. But my bike is electric, so I'm cheating just a little bit to get the shots that we want. But we're going to be doing that this weekend, so definitely check that out. And, you know, vote for us. I would love the precedent that winning this would set, that you don't need to have corporate dollars, that you don't need to be a big network to have newsworthy content that people want to be a part of.
Well, I just voted for you, and I'm going to submit a picture of myself and Chris to be put on your home screen as well.
Yes, do it.
It's a great website. I was just checking it out. It's very cool. So I'm excited about you guys hopefully winning, because screw those other stations.
I hope so too.
Sorry, that wasn't very positive. I'm rooting for you guys to win. So there you go.
I appreciate it. And I will say that one thing I did notice since we started was that originally I did this show as a proof of concept for Channel 3, and then decided that, I'd like to keep it private, and so there's no rules really.
Sure.
And I have noticed that as the more popular we get, the more I see our bigger news networks sort of doing more in the field, interacting with people, going out, and I talked about the Parma Ribbon Rock. The day after we did our segment, Channel 5 was there and went to the exact same people that we did. And a lot of people might, be, oh, of course they did that because I did it. But I was thrilled because every news station that was there was talking about the ribs because it's a rib cook-off. I wanted to talk about the people that weren't getting any media coverage, the people selling cookies and ice cream and popcorn. And we did a huge thing on Joey's Rockin' Poppin' Popcorn. He's a brand new company, and their popcorn's so phenomenal. I'm like, why is nobody talking about this? We spent 10 minutes alone just going over his popcorn, and then 5 came the next day and did the same thing. So I'm glad that the impact that we're having extends to those other news stations as well, and they're realizing this is what it needs. But yes, I would love to win this. 100%.
We appreciate you coming on, man, and I'll take that popcorn bribe in the mail anytime, and we'll have you on again if you win. All right, hopefully you will.
I love it. Thank you guys so much for having me.
All right, Gremi.
Cleve It To Us, cleveittous.com. Check it out. Appreciate it, my man.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. And I'm still going to be waiting for that segment on the Happiest Podcast.
Yeah, well,
the most uplifting podcast in the Cleveland area.
Can you just see us being nominated for something like that? It'd be like the Seth Williams Show, Pastor Brown's Happy Hour. All those shows that you do on HK at night.
Like, I don't know what you're talking about. We are the most uplifting podcast around. I have police in riot gear with smoke behind me, but that's all right. Those are happy police in riot gear.
I thought Gremi was a great guest, especially on a day where you were going to be very depressed. I was like, let's uplift Seth a little bit with some Cleveland pride.
He is a great guest, and that website is fantastic.
I
enjoyed checking it out. But I'm not depressed. I'm angry, and I want revenge. And I think that it's time to revolt in this country, and I think it's time to change the tipping points in our favor as people of morals and values for the most part, despite the porn addiction. Despite that, mostly morals and values in the right direction.
Rick has a good point for you. If we win, have Mike come up with something.
Do the Pickle Fest.
Yeah, what is up with that pickleball, man? Where did that come from?
Pickleball? I know a lot of people who play pickleball.
I know. I see it all the time on like YouTube Shorts and everything, and I'm like, what is this? It's like
old man, lazy man tennis.
Yeah, it's like ping pong meets tennis, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like I always I can't figure out the strategies. Like they hit the ball hard, but it doesn't go real fast, or the
court is a lot smaller. Is all it is.
It's like they're hitting a wiffle ball or something that just doesn't go real far. I know here in Twinsburg, we used to have public tennis courts, and they converted them all to pickleball.
Yeah, I know, it's weird.
And I was like, what the hell happened? What did I miss? But,
all right, well, it doesn't look like we're getting Tony today.
All right, well, that's all right.
I don't know what the hell's going on. He's playing golf again.
Well,
so I wish he would schedule his golf tournaments around the show as opposed,
hey,
but, whatever.
You get a free 18, you take it, my friend.
Amen to that. All right, we got to take a quick break. On the other side, we're going to continue this issue 1 debacle disaster talk, but I also want to get into, again, this is what we're up against. A person on the left, a prominent figure pretty much in Cleveland area.
Okay.
I probably won't mention his name, but he had something to say about LeBron. I want to talk about that.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back.
All right, cool.
It is time to save America and stop funding woke corporations. Shop with merchants that share your values today. Get all the great products you buy online anyway from Mammoth Nation. Visit the online store today at us.cmspn.com and save money while helping to fend off enemies of our way of life. We can't expect change until we make changes ourselves. Shop Mammoth Nation today.
Are you looking for a way to support the Seth Williams Show? Get your Seth Williams Show merchandise today. From coffee mugs to clothing and everything in between, our high-quality merch is the perfect way for you to not only support the show, but show everyone what is the greatest show going today. Just go to shop.thesethwilliamsshow.com now, shop around, and buy some great merchandise from The Seth Williams Show. Shop today.
What separates Triv's restaurant in Strongsville from everybody else? Some restaurants you go to eat the same thing over and over and over. But then there are restaurants like Triv's, where you want to go there every single time and eat something different until you have eaten every single item on the menu. Why? Because the food's delicious, and it has been for almost a quarter of a century. Triv's has amazing food, outstanding service, and an opportunity for you to have private dining, special events, and intimate occasions. You can enjoy a memorable fine dining experience in your own dedicated, intimate space. Visit Triv's in the heart of Strongsville. Call now for reservations, 440-238-8830. Triv's in Strongsville. Joe Burdick custom flags are amazing. Each flag is handcrafted to reflect the imperfect perfection, making each piece of patriotic wall art unique. This is a local small business, veteran-owned and proud. Joe Burdick creates symbolic artwork that is built to last. Display your spirit, pride, and patriotism by calling 440-305-2065 and let Joe's flag serve you. 440-305-2065. Joe Burdick Flags. Let me introduce you to Charlie's Auto Repair. Any car, any truck, any problem, Charlie's does it right. You know how it is. The check your engine light comes on, you put air in the tires, and the light is still on. 216-470-0170. That's Charlie's Auto Repair, 13728 Madison in Lakewood. Charlie can do it all, from small engine repair to fleet maintenance and system diagnostics. 216-470-0170. Charlie's Auto Repair. Let Charlie make your car great once again.